All the laughs without the anxiety. Mike Klein presents My Jewish Parents.
Yes, us, a Jewish parents.
Wait a minute.
So last Friday night, we were sitting down to dinner for Rosh Hashanah, which, by the way, we watched it on Zoom, right, Mom? Is that?
Yes.
It was a good ceremony. I think, Dad, you had too many drinks, though, didn't you? And Mom, you got mad because he didn't clean up afterwards. Is that what you were upset about?
What was I mad about?
I don't know. You were like, oh, you had too many glasses. Now you can't clean up. That's what you said.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
He's got to help out, too.
Right.
And then the sad news about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, like literally like at 9 o'clock, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
I know. It was a shock.
Yeah. I was lying down and you came in to tell me that she had just passed. And I didn't know she was that sick. I mean, I knew she was sick, but I didn't know she was critical at the time. And, so it was a shock when you said that. Yeah. And immediately it brought to mind my experience in meeting her when I met her years ago. I think it was in 1994, 95. She was on the court in 1993. She was appointed to the court by Clinton.
Right.
Had been a justice for about at least 8 or 9 years when I saw her. Anyway, your mother was attending a convention for therapists in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Right.
On
Creativity and madness.
Creativity and madness.
How do you remember the topics? That's hilarious.
They do it every year. But they have
okay.
And it was rather famous people that are artists or musicians, and they had some psychological issues and how it was dealt, how it affects us. But that's not the point. The point is, I wasn't attending any workshops. I just was with your mother there.
Yep.
And Santa Fe is a very interesting city. It's beautiful, New Mexico. It has a lot of very famous museums. And one of the most famous museums is Georgia O'Keeffe. Georgia O'Keeffe was a very famous feminine artist who lived outside of the Fe. She had a ranch in New Mexico. But at any rate, she had her museum there, beautiful museum. And if you know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was two of her big loves or interests was opera, and Santa Fe has a beautiful opera facility in the hills there, in the mountains. And it's an opera house. It's gorgeous. It's outdoors. So she must have been there to see an opera. And also, she was visiting Georgia O'Keeffe's museum. She was very much supporting feminine artists. And Georgia O'Keeffe was quite an interesting artist. Anyway, so I was there looking at the museum inside, and suddenly I see a little group of people coming in, and sure enough, it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She came in with her entourage of, I guess, aides and support, several people around her, and she was such a little thing. She was so small, I couldn't believe it. She came in, and I was so taken up by that. I was looking at a painting in the room there where she came in. But I just wanted to say hello to her when she came in with her entourage. And I normally would not have had the nerve to do it. But she was smiling. I remember that she had a smile that really caught you and grabbed you. She was a very warm person, quiet, very small.
She was tiny, right? She's small.
Small, very size, very small, and very quiet. I just kind of walked near. I said, "Excuse me, Your Honor, I don't want to bother you, but I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your work on the court and all the wonderful things you've done for women and for men, for all of us. I appreciate it, and I hope you stay there much longer and do even more good things. Thank you." She looked at me, she beamed, and she said, "Thank you." And she said, "Thank you very much for what you said."
Okay.
And she went about her business.
No pictures? You didn't get a picture with her?
Excuse me?
I said you didn't get a picture with her?
I just saw, I don't know. I knew who she could have been with others, but I didn't see her husband or anything. Just she was there. And she had her entourage around her. her taking care of her. But, her smile was like someone's hand that reached out and grabs you and pulls you in and says, come here, come here. She was such a sweet person, such a nice person. In Judaism, we say, when we talk about someone that's passed, we say, may her memory be a blessing, and may her memory be a blessing.
So, Dad, normally explain this to me, because, I think I know this, but normally when a Jewish person passes away, they have to be buried pretty fast, right?
Well, in Judaism, traditionally, it should be within 48 hours.
Well, obviously, this is going on. I think they're burying her on Saturday or today, I think.
Yeah. Well, there are variations. When there's a holiday, you can't be buried on Shabbat, and a holiday, you can't be buried. So there are exceptions to that rule. The general thing is, and the other thing that you'll notice, I don't know if you did, is that, and I'm pretty sure in Judaism it's still that it's usually a closed casket.
Right. Was it an open casket? I didn't see that. Because I went to the thing at the Supreme Court last night. I went up to New York, to D.C., excuse me, and. The line was insane, by the way. So I kind of went around the bin of the line, and we saw the coffin from a distance, and the line was just crazy. But I think the coffin's closed though, right? I didn't.
Yes.
It wasn't open. Yeah.
Oh, of course not.
It didn't seem like it was open at all. But it's funny, as I was thinking about bringing up flowers to the thing, but then I realized you're not supposed to bring flowers. You're not supposed to send flowers when you're Jewish to someone's funeral.
No.
So I didn't do that.
There are always exceptions.
Right. There's always exceptions.
No.
So she'll get buried when then, Dad? When will
she's going to be buried at Arlington.
Yeah.
I think, is it today?
I don't know.
I think, but she's going to be buried before sundown because Shabbat is,
Okay, so she gets buried today then, probably.
If she is buried today, I guess you'd have to wait till Sunday, but Sunday night is Yom Kippur, so it's right in between that.
So she can't get. Sunday night's is Yom Kippur. Sunday night. Mom, are you eating again during the podcast?
What?
Mom, what are you eating on the podcast right now?
An apple.
You're not supposed to eat during the podcast. It's not snack time.
Wait a minute. It's an apple from Rosh Hashanah.
Mom, wow, that's a good excuse.
No,
Dad, where's your wine for Rosh Hashanah?
I drank it up.
Oh, I'd be drinking it right now. Apparently, Mom's having an apple.
I'm afraid to drink it. What are you doing with that, please?
What are you doing with the apple?
Oh, anyway.
Okay.
Between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur, we're supposed to be thinking of how we might have hurt someone and how we might want to make amends to them, and also how we might have what they call missed the mark.
Yeah.
And how we want to turn, more to our true selves. And so Yom Kippur is a very day.
Mm-hmm.
And but the interesting thing that they were talking about for Rosh Hashanah is they were talking about actually the Black Plague in the I think it was the 15th century, how
epidemic.
Half of Europe was killed, something like that from it. Anyway, that from that, it wasn't that life went back to normal. It was a new normal. It was totally new. And we should expect that also from after this pandemic. It's not just going to go back. It's going to be a new world, a new...
Are you going to wear masks forever now?
No.
We probably have a good year from probably wearing masks, I think.
Oh, I think we're going to be wearing masks for a while.
Right.
This resolved.
I think people are going to be scared for not wearing a mask now,
What'd you say?
I think after even you get the vaccine in and we get rid of this, I think people are still going to be scared not to wear the mask.
It's not a terrible idea. And there's nothing wrong with wearing a mask.
We'll see how the flu is this year.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's really interesting. They say because we're taking precautions, wearing a mask, washing our hands, and keeping a distance, that's going to also reduce the flu.
It should. That's what I'm saying. It should.
Yeah. So it may be helpful
Right.
for flu as well. So it may not be.
Yeah, well, we got our flu shots. Did you
Yeah.
get yours?
No, not yet, because I wasn't feeling well earlier in the week. But now
All
I feel
right.
better.
Flu
The
shot.
flu shot.
That's really important. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you another thing that I think is going to change, and that is that due to this experience we've had with the pandemic and the virus, I think we're going to start being more concerned with public health.
I hope.
We don't have a
Oh,
good
yeah, I
public-
think, I agree with you. Yeah.
So when in the future there are going to be other epidemics and other problems,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be ready for taking care of ourselves.
We'll be ready unless it's 100 years from now, like it did last time.
Yeah. And
By the way, it doesn't go away. You see what that black plague didn't go away. It goes in different forms. It
Right,
gets
mutates, yeah. Mm-hmm.
it mutates.
Right,
And
right.
Now, let me share something really wild with you for this podcast,
Okay.
because that's interesting. One of my most favorite movies and authors
Yep.
is H.G. Wells.
Okay.
And do you remember the radio? Then there was the movie War of the Worlds, where we were invaded
Yes.
by
Yeah.
They
Was that
came
Orson Welles or something?
flying saucers and
Mhm.
Martians came. All right. Now listen, this is very, very important.
Okay.
So they came, and we couldn't compete with Martians. I mean, these were advanced, creatures. They had flying saucers. They were killing people right and left, taking over our world. All the different countries were fighting with each other. Then they were fighting with them, and they couldn't do anything to beat them. And they were, with a whole thing going on, and it was awful.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in the end? In the end, the Martians started dying. The saucers and the Martians. What happened was they were not able to deal with the viruses on Earth. The infections and the little virus that we don't see killed the Martians off. Killed them off, but it saved the world. It saved the world because the most littlest thing in the world, invisible thing, a virus that we don't even see, saved us, saved the world. So what this epidemic should teach us is that while it's dangerous, the viruses and the things that are sent to us should make us begin to appreciate our world, should appreciate the earth, should appreciate the pollution, not being polluted. This should wake us up to understand how important it is where we live and what we live on.
Yeah.
So with every horrible thing that brings darkness and tragedy, brings light and hopefulness. So I remembered that story. Oh, it's really an important story. Yeah, we're struggling with a virus now. That's killing, but it can help us if we're being, anyway.
It can help us go beyond ourselves and take care of our planet.
Right.
We have not been doing.
No.
And
it's going to be cold here this winter, I hear. I'm not looking forward to that.
To make another connection with the time of year we're in, we're going into a new year.
Yeah.
And we need to make a pledge of how we're going to be different and what we're going to do for our world, for our family, for our community.
Right.
How we get things better.
Right.
So we should keep that in mind. Everything has attachment to it. And the wonderful example of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who spent her life helping people, women and men and all of us, become better, involved and active, and everything connects. We have to draw the line from dot to dot.
Right.
So I just want to share that.
Let's talk about fasting, because you're supposed to fast on Yom Kippur, right?
Your father always has.
Yeah.
Are you going to fast, Mom?
No, I don't fast.
Yeah, you don't fast?
No.
See, my friend Shelly, who's also Jewish, she's also single.
Yeah.
She says she can't get involved with me because we don't fast. I'm serious.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious. She says I'm not real. She says I'm not really Jewish because I don't fast on Yom Kippur. Last year I fasted for a date with her, but we never went on the date, so it never happened. All right. So, Mom, you're not going to fast. Well, you're not fasting right now, but you're not going to fast at all, right? Dad, are you going to try to fast this year?
Yeah, I'm going to try to fast a little bit.
I'm going to fast for also weight loss.
You're not supposed to fast if you're not feeling well, and it's, dangerous to you. Yeah. If you're sick or anything like that. But if you're functioning normally, you should, the whole concept of fasting is not only to clean your head out of ideas and thoughts that you carry with you, but to clean your body out and look at the new year as you're a container. So contain things in there that are more helpful, more positive for you.
Why do I feel like Bubby never fasted either? And like back in the day, she would convince me to eat and get busted. Why do they feel like she did that? Is that right?
Bubby was an atheist. She wasn't interested in religion.
She didn't believe
in religion?
And the traditional aspects of religion.
Oh, she didn't.
Right.
She didn't.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't fast.
No.
Of course, the way she ate looked like she was fasting because she didn't eat that much. Maybe she was fasting over time. I don't know. I have no idea. So there is some good news about the coronavirus. Airlines are going to cancel their changing fees now. So if you want to change your flight, they won't charge you that $150 thing now. It probably that way makes up 3% of their revenue. So now they're going to get rid of that. So people probably won't be scared to like book a flight now and then cancel at the last minute. Southwest has been doing that for years.
Good.
And then now, like, I guess United Airlines is offering like COVID tests on the airplanes. So like when you go to Hawaii, because Hawaii, it's a mandatory 14 days that you have to stay in the hotel. But if you have a COVID test when you come off the airplane and it's negative, then you don't have to quarantine for 14 days. So now they're offering those to some of the passengers at some of the routes. Which is, this is becoming the new norm. Mm-hmm. New York, my friend Toby went up to New York last weekend. He said it wasn't that bad. Everybody thinks that New York is terrible right now, and crime has overrun the city, which is not necessarily true. I mean, there's definitely a lot more crime than ever there, but not a ton in Manhattan, though, Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting, this whole situation with this coronavirus. But I'll tell you, yesterday at Ruth Bader Ginsburg's thing at the Supreme Court, everybody was wearing masks, but the line to see the casket took like at least 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
And I was not willing to be in a group of people like that. So that's why I was able to get it. I mean, the cool thing is you were able to get around the building and see it from the side, which was really cool too, because, you could see it. Yeah. So, I mean, you weren't that close. I don't think you got that close, even if you waited in line. So I feel like, mine was the safest way to go anyways.
Right. You're probably right. Mm-hmm.
But there was lots of walking. And, which is good for me, but, So you've been following the story about Breonna Taylor in Louisville?
Yeah.
Have you been following the whole story? Like what exactly happened?
Well, I think that the biggest annoyance and concern that people have is that no one knows what happened with the grand jury, because the grand jury only gets information that the attorney general gives them to look at.
Okay. So
if he didn't give them certain information, then they would come up with a different conclusion. That's why they say a prosecutor or attorney general who's a prosecutor can decide if he wants to convict someone or not by the information he gives the grand jury. Was it fair that he give them information on both sides, or just to get the innocence of the police officers, or did he give other information that was not in favor of the police officer? And that's not released. They want that released.
Yeah, and he hasn't released it yet. And then
that's the big issue. I think if they release that, that'll be okay. The only other thing I would say is that this prosecutor, the attorney general in Louisville, in Kentucky, not Louisville.
Louisville,
attended the Republican convention.
Yes,
was the speaker there. So there's a lot of politics.
A lot of people are upset about that. They're like, is this a political decision? Yeah, the people are, is this a political decision, or is this a real decision? And then,
what was the information? And also, the other thing you need to understand is the city of Louisville settled with the family and gave them $12 million. So they wouldn't give them $12 million unless they felt they really did something wrong. Why would they give them $12 million? So,
well, I know they did something wrong, but
it doesn't add up right. Doesn't add up right.
I think what they're saying is that this was a botched operation. It was from what all the people in Louisville are saying, all the people that are that are involved with the mayors and the governor are saying that this was a botched operation. They put this thing together. It's a makeshift thing or whatever they did. They didn't handle it correctly, but they didn't violate any crimes because they were shot at, and so they shot back at them. That's the problem. That's what everyone's saying.
That's what everyone's saying. Well, that's one way of looking at it.
So the city is definitely in violation. They definitely win that money. That police officer did get fired. He got charged with something stupid where I guess he endangered other apartments by shooting because they were shooting wildly in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I think it was 30 or 40 bullets they shot.
Yeah, for 2 people. And so I don't know. I think people are just crazy about it. Now I'm seeing, Louisville, I lived there for some time. Almost 3 years. And I liked living there, and I thought it was a great city. And now it looks like it's being destroyed, and it's very sad. Baltimore, by the way, they had protests in Baltimore last night.
Now, you know what I would say? I was thinking, if some bad stuff was done and they didn't do the right thing and took this poor woman's life, what they should do is the black people there should have an economic boycott of Louisville. Just don't spend any money. Close it down economically. Then until they make some changes. That works. Instead of protesting and having riots. I think that would work. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's already pretty much shut down anyways. It's been shut down since April. Since the shooting happened, they have not.
Yeah.
Between the pandemic, I know that all the steakhouses have almost left the city. They have. It's a poor city now. This will set them back by 10 years for sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This is like Baltimore, like 2015, but probably, Baltimore's next to Washington. There's nothing near Louisville, so I think it could be set back many years.
That's a shame.
I really do. I don't think this is going to come back anytime soon. No one's going to want to live in that city anymore. And they walked all the way up to the old neighborhoods that I lived in the Highlands.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 6 or 7 miles from downtown. So they walked everywhere because they shut down downtown.
Yeah.
So people are upset with the mayor because there was gang problems in that city and he didn't address it. And everybody thinks this is what happened because of it, but I don't know. I think it was bad police officers.
I guess I could say something, but that may not be. That may be controversial.
What are you going to say?
It's Louisville is an open carry state.
Yes.
Which means you can walk around with guns.
Yes.
In the open. Loaded.
Right.
You can walk around with guns in the open. I think that's wrong. Have an open carry state. You shouldn't be able to walk around with weapons that are loaded.